Hi, this is Lainey
Hi.
Cameron. Hey, Densie.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm excited to have you here to chat about your new book, your latest, When Robins Appear, which just came out in October, right?
Right, right. Very
So tell
excited.
me, I just finished it. It's awesome. Tell me about the book and the inspiration behind When Robins Appear.
Well, it's a family drama, mainly mother and daughter. I have a daughter myself, a grown daughter, and I think there was a lot of emotional inspiration from that. Um, it does have a bittersweet ending. I like to tell people that if they're looking for something that's going to wrap up in a neat bow and everybody's happy. But it does. I think it has a lot of emotional depth, and I really enjoyed writing it. I think there are multiple sources of inspiration for the story. It's funny, but it started out, my daughter had a classmate who was seriously injured in a skateboarding accident. And so I thought, you know what? I want to do a character, a young character that's a skateboarder. And as you read the book, there is some skateboarding in there, but it ended up being so far and away not the main focus of the book. But I think that was the trigger. Yeah,
Interesting. And isn't it fascinating how you start with the germ of an idea as an author and then it kind of grows and grows and grows? And then, like
totally.
skateboarding, like you say, it's in the book, but it's not the main theme of the book, right? It's
Yeah,
all about
right.
mother daughter relationships and the decisions about having children and when in your life and lots of, and
Exactly.
marriage. And, like you say, family drama, lots of meaty family
Right.
drama.
Right. Yeah. So, and inspiration again from my relationship with my daughter.
That's
I
awesome.
think that was a big part of it. Yeah.
So, let's take a quick peek at a review here. And I will tell you that in addition to this review, I had a quick look through your wonderful reviews on Goodreads already. And some of the words that kept coming up again and again were family drama, twists, beautiful, insightful, powerful. What wonderful words to have people
Oh, I
say about
know.
your book.
Yeah.
And this one from Marlene Edelstein summarized it really well. A mother torn between the love for her family and secrets from her past, heart wrenching and engrossing, a family drama you can't put down. I thought that very much
Um,
encapsulated my experience of reading your
yeah,
book.
that's lovely. Really lovely. Yeah.
So, we both know that books change lots along the way as they get edited. What might a reader be interested to know changed or got dropped or is different than the actual final book they're reading?
Yeah. I've been thinking about that, and I edit as I go along, so it's not like, okay, I've got a draft, now I'm going to cut this chapter or whatever. But I guess the biggest change was in the prologue. Originally, my prologue was fairly long. If you've ever read Water for Elephants, there is a prologue that tells you it projects far into the future, and then toward the end of the book, it's more fleshed out and you understand what's going on. And I was sort of going for that, but the feedback I got was that it was a little too repetitive. So I ended up cutting the prologue basically in half. And then when you get to the end of the story, you find out what it's actually all about. So yeah, that was the biggest change, I think.
It's good. The prologue sets up a real mystery right through the book of what was
Right,
happening in that prologue. It got me
right.
drawn in.
There was another thing where one of the skateboarding characters, again, inspiration from my daughter's classmate. Um, I was going to have him be in a very serious accident, but as you know, there's other medical stuff in the story, and I thought, well, this is a little too much, so I played it down quite a bit. So
Interesting.
yeah,
So, what advice might you have for readers? I mean, this is not your first book. I've read more than one of your books at this point. But people are out there just writing their first novel or trying to get their first book published. They're a few steps behind where you are now. What advice do you have for other people who are wanting to get their work created and out into the world?
right. I always think that you just got to take the leap in the beginning. I say, and then and get feedback, whether it's writing groups. I first started with meetup groups when we used to be able to meet in person, and got feedback from a variety of other people who were trying to get into the writing business, become authors. And I felt like it's sort of like an actor being pushed onto the stage and they don't have their lines memorized yet. And that's sort of the way it feels when you first start getting feedback. But if you're just starting out and you want to get published, you have to be prepared for the pain, because not everybody's going to like what you're writing. But it's absolutely essential that you get feedback and that you stick with it. Perseverance, patience. It just takes time and a lot of repetition that I think most, at least readers, don't get. That they have images of an author sitting down and the words just flow and you write this book and all of a sudden it's the end and then it's published. But as you know, and every other author knows, that's not the way it is. It's hours and hours of thinking and rethinking and tweaking and revision and getting this feedback. The feedback never stops. It's not just in the beginning. You have to go all the way to the end. So yeah, it's time, energy, and patience and perseverance. You have to really want it.
Those are good advice. Yeah. Perseverance and feedback. And like you say, I think it puts a lot of pressure on you when you watch these movies where people sit down and they write something, you know, just miraculous at the keyboard, and then it gets published the next week. And it's like, thank goodness it doesn't work that way, because we all know that first drafts are awful. And so it's nice to be able to write a first draft knowing it'll get revised 10 plus times.
Yeah.
So talking of awesome books, what have you enjoyed reading recently?
Well, it's funny. I say funny. It's a humorous book by an Irish author by the name of Emma Murray. And the title of the book is Time Out. And I usually don't go for those types of books, but actually a project I'm working on has an Irish character. So I've been reaching out to some Irish authors and just people who have an Irish connection saying, is this what they would say? You know, because there are a lot of Irish isms, I guess, that I wouldn't be familiar with. Anyway, I connected with her on Instagram and I read her book and I just thought I loved it. It was funny. And there are some Irish phrases in there that I had to Google because I don't know what they mean. But both the author and the character are Irish and live in London. So she had sort of a perspective as to what Londoners think of Irish people and what Irish people think of you once you've moved to London, you know. So it was, and it's all about mums with attitude. I mean, it is, I think it's hilarious. Now, if you're offended by language, don't go there because there's a lot of it. But I think anybody who has had children or been around children would get a big kick out of it. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Wow. I'm going to check that one out. I haven't read that one, but it sounds like my kind of thing. It sounds like a fun book, actually.
Yeah, it is. It totally is.
So is there anything I haven't asked you? I know for one thing, this book would make a great book club book. Is there anything else you want to talk about relative to When Robins Appear that you might want readers or anyone to know?
Well, it's not about When Robins Appear specifically, but I have a feeling probably every author says this, but if you read the book and you enjoy it, please leave a review on Amazon and Goodreads. It's something that even authors forget. You know, we read a book and we say, oh, that was really good. And then you read something about, oh, please leave a review. And it's like, oh, yeah, I meant to leave that review. So, yeah, it's very important to authors. It's how they get their next book contract. It's how they make a little money so they can do that next book. Yeah.
Isn't that the truth? And if folks want to connect with you, let's look at how they can reach you. You're at Densie Webb Books on Instagram, and your website is densiewebb.com.
And it's Densie, not Denise. Yeah, in fact, I started adding to my signature in my email, Densie, and then in parentheses, not Denise, because I'm contacting so many people who don't know me, you know, trying to get the book out there. So yeah, it's you know, it's an unusual name, and people glance at it and they just automatically think Denise. So, yeah.
Well, the best of luck with this book. It's getting some fabulous reviews and it's not been out very long. So I'd encourage folks to go check it out. Family drama, definitely powerful, a great book club, some surprises towards the ending, some twists and turns that I won't give anything away other than to say most enjoyable twists and turns at the end.
Oh, thank you, Lainey. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Densie.
Okay, thanks so much. Bye-bye.